Okay, so I'm going to go over the week 2 Monday night items. In this case, if Monday is a campus holiday, which it happens to be this semester, then it would be Tuesday. But I would tell you, especially for 28 or 82, the sooner the better, because you can see starting in week 2, we have a normal week that you'll have for each due date. Monday and Thursday, you'll have 3 items. So getting them done early is a great idea so that you can get feedback and fix anything. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little challenge on this first one. I've laid out some steps here for how to set up your code space, and in this case, you might be using local. I think most of you are using code space. And I want you to, if you want, I wouldn't know either way, but it is good to know if now that you've gone over how to do this several times, and attendance you did this, right, that you can attempt this. So I'm gonna challenge you to pause here and see if you can at least work through, and in this case, these first 3 steps, because the rest of this is going to be watching these videos, and then, here's how I would grade. So give that a whirl, and then if you want to try it, otherwise I'm about to cover it. Okay, so I have my code space already open here. Okay, I'm going to actually change my color because sometimes it's a little confusing depending on where you're working. So we created a folder already, right? So in this case, I'm going to create a folder up in the code space. That file is going to be lectures. Okay, so all the lectures from here on out will go in that directory. Now inside here, you're going to create another folder, and this is why it's important to be at the current folder when you create this. So this would be week 2. Okay. Now in week 2, you're going to end up creating a file. Right, so in here now, we're going to create a file called internet. What did I say? So I have to go back and look. Yeah, internet-web. Okay, so and by the way, notice I clicked off of that, and so I didn't finish it. Okay, and I right-clicked. I'm gonna hit allow here, and I'm gonna rename it. Okay, I'm gonna say enter. I do know how to type -web.md for markdown. Okay. So now in here, what you're going to end up doing, and this is why I did the markdown exercise in the attendance, right? So you'll do heading, video title. I'm not going. You can do that yourself, right? And then you could do bullets, and actually to make sure it comes out correctly, you could do the preview here. Over here, you get the preview to see how that markdown comes out. Okay. All right. So that you have so far. So let's come back over here, right? So that's the setup. So now what you're going to do is so now you're going to watch, right? So there's your heading. You watch this video, right? You're going to watch it, and with the bullets, you're going to take notes on what's covered. Now, by the way, just heads up, there's a little bit of bad language in this one, so just know that going in. If it offends you, I do apologize. It was not the intention. So watch the first one. Take your notes, right? And then do your commit message, right? So in this case, after you watch the first video, then you would commit with message brief history. Now I haven't done the notes, but I'm going to simulate what you would do, right? So in this case, I'm going to do get status. Yep, I have lectures, so I do get add star, get commit -m. Okay, I believe that is a brief history is what I said on that one. Okay, so I'm committing with that message. Now at this point, I don't necessarily have to do git push, but I can if I am at all, just sometimes I am, depending on where I'm working, because the point of this is that you're going to do that again and then do the workflow up until the push. But I'm going to go ahead and simulate the idea of the push. So now what that's done is it's pushed my changes to GitHub, and I'll show that in a second. Okay. All right, so you'll do that. Then find the GitHub URL for your commit history for this W2 folder. So let's actually show you that, because what I should see in your work is the titles and the bullets for these 2 videos, and this is a title and that's a title. And then I showed you here how I break down the grading. Okay, and this is a URL submission. So let's actually go over here. Actually, I was looking at this for the next item. So let's go to 82. Remember, this is done in your private repo, not in your public. We'll use the public one in a second. So I'm going to go to repos. If I don't see mine, oh, I do see, by the way, they do list about who uploaded last. Now, again, you won't see private repos. You'll only see public ones. That is a folder, right? Yeah. Okay. So now I'm in my W2 folder. I see that file. So I'd come over to history. I'd grab that URL. And when I'm all done, that's how I would submit. Okay. So that's that item. All right. Reach out for help if you need. Let's go on to the second item. So in the second item, now that you've learned a little about HTTP, let's take this and actually learn a little more using DevTools. DevTools is really an important thing in web development. Now, if you're absolutely in love with some other browser and you don't want to use Chrome, I don't require it, but each browser has its own built-in version of what I'm about to show you. So you're going to use that, but I'm going to show you some of the ways. Just somebody who's never used this kind of built-in browser functionality would kind of start to look at sites. Okay, so find two similar sites like Bing and Google. That's what I will use. So don't use that. Every student needs to select two different sites, right? So in other words, before you do yours, make sure somebody hasn't already done those same two sites. You could use one of them and then maybe something different, and do choose two that are similar. This makes it a little more interesting. Now, let me show you this and then I'll come back and talk about this. So I happen to have Bing up already, okay, and I have Google up already. So on both of them, I'd hit right click and inspect, okay. And when you do that, if you've ever been in here, this brings up this whole interface that for the first time, if you've ever just been in here, and all I have is defaults, I think, to elements, which is the elements of the page, and you could scroll through here. It's kind of an interesting thing just to see how much, in this case, content this page involves, which for me it's even more because it's pulling some of my campus information, which I just realized a little while ago. Okay, so I'm going to do the same for Google, right? So right click, inspect. There's also a keyboard shortcut for this. Okay, again, now Google has a much sparse and notice, and this is something I'm researching to figure out why this is suddenly happening. I'm noticing that many of them now, and I don't know if this is my browser, so I got to find that out as well, is running something in the background, but I'm just going to go to elements for now. Okay, so again, you can kind of come through here. And the thing I would say to kind of get aware about how to look at what gets sent to your computer via this HTTP that you just learned about is actually to go over to performance. And under performance, and I was actually just researching this, Google gives you this largest contentful paint. And I was like, oh yeah, what does that mean? So I researched it, right? So it's a metric that measures how long it takes for a web page's main content to load. So it's just a way we can compare, right? If I compared, now not going to be a surprise that Google's going to load faster. First, it has less content, right? Even though it has my account it pulls in, it still has less content. So first I could look at that. So I'd come over to here. If you don't see it across the top, look for it here. Okay, so in this case, the largest is definitely a little bigger for this cumulative. This must be, yeah, I'm not sure what a cumulative is. I'd have to look at that. That'd be an interesting one. Okay. So first, just look at that, compare those, and make a comment about what were you surprised. I wasn't surprised because just of the content, even though they're both search engines, they are doing very different stuff. And the other one, and you can play with any of this, like I think it's a good idea to play around, but the other one I would recommend is to go to network. And under network, there's this line that you'll see. And one thing you could do all, and I think it might, depending on what if you've played with this before, and this just shows the different things you can break down as far as this is what happens on the network when you go to this site. And you can actually simulate slower web connections, which is awesome. But in general, we're looking at, hey, we got 4 requests, 44 bits transferred. Seems pretty good. Let's go look at Google's to compare that. Network on Google's was 9 requests. Actually, I am surprised that Google's actually is bigger. And maybe that's because I had gone to, and that's the other thing is when you've already, the first time you go to a site, it's going to load some stuff on your local system, which is good to understand. And so the next time when you go to it, it's actually just pulling out what we call cache. That might explain this. So I could test that by going here and refreshing Google. Okay, refreshing, drop out of this, refresh this. Okay, right click here. See, go to that network tab. 1 request, very quick. So what that means is that these pages are getting better about only bringing new content versus what we call round trip. So let's go here. Let's see what Google did on the network on the second one. Go here. Looks like I'm not getting that data. Oh yeah, only 1. Okay, so and that's the idea, is that it might be best to look at this before you've, if you've loaded and refreshed it. But the idea here is once you do this, then take a print screen. Now you can do this by just, making these small. All I want to see here is that you have gotten into DevTools and that you have, I'm going to go ahead, there's my Google one. So in this case, I'm going to bring my Bing one. Now you could do 2 separate print screens if you want. It's really up to you how you want to do this. Like if I was to say, okay, there's my 2, and then I could take a print screen, right? So there we go. Okay, so I could just show, and again, we took print screens already in the first week, so go back and look at that if you want. And again, you can take 2 or you can take 1 there, okay? All right, so now that you've done that, right, so now we found differences, and Web Tools take a print screen of the site. And I put sites here again because you could take 1 print screen with both or 2 of them. And then name the print screen. So then you use a name, right? And this is important. You've heard me talk about this using the course naming standards, right? Let's see. Course naming standards and upload to your public repo. This is again a repeat of what we've already done. So what I would say here, even though I haven't given you a name, is actually use lowercase, but maybe name the first one, Google, and then the second one Bing might be a good one, all lowercase, right? Complete your GitHub workflow, right? So I showed you before how to just drag that into your public repo. Let's see. What I didn't specify here, yeah, we have an images. As a matter of fact, let's go back here. If I went and looked at my GitHub, I believe I had you already create an images directory. So you can just put them in here, okay? When you have your code space open, right? So, and I did give you a commit message, and you have to embed. This is really important. Most of you got this, but it's very important that you embed and you don't attach in your reply, okay? So I almost wish I could take this out, because if using this won't help you, it's knowing how to grab the URL and embed that in your post, okay? So do that in your reply. Tell us what you found, from reviewing this and your thoughts on the findings, right? So that's what you want to do there. And here is how I would grade it. Okay, correctly meaning naming standard. Okay, so let's go to the last one. So I'm going to hit cancel here, and let's go to the last one. The last one is one that most students find interesting. I hope you found all this interesting. But in this case, we're going to look at the 2024 Stack Overflow, a really popular site for getting answers and seeing if other people, it's just used massively for answering questions, although it is being challenged, of course, by ChatGPT as well. So what this is up at the top, right? So developer profile, the technology they're using, the AI, the work, the community. So I want you to go through here and find something that you want to chat about, right? Frequency of using Stack Overflow, right? Professional developers, right? What are they doing? Participate in professional developer series, individual contributors or people managers. Look through some of this. Find something that you will find interesting and discuss about it, right? So that's the idea, right? So review, and again, piques your interest, but find something unique. If somebody's already posted about something, just do a quick review before you start in to your post, right? Tell us what you learned. Each student needs to select a different topic, right? And then write 150 words and do 2 replies to your fellow students' post. And by the way, generally on hands-on, unless I say otherwise, I don't have you do replies because the idea is just to do hands-on. Yeah, see, did you reply? You don't have to do replies on that one. Okay, last thing I'll leave with is that over here, since I've done this and I now have done my get push, I always want to stop my code space. All right, hope this helps. Reach out for help if you need it.